So today I want to do a really quick, simple demonstration about Art-I-San Fluorescent Acrylic Paints versus regular craft acrylics that you can buy just about anywhere. As you've already seen in the thumbnail photo for this video, I recently painted a seascape at sunset, and for all of the sky I used a blend of regular craft acrylics with the Art-I-San acrylic fluorescent paints. Most of the sky was done with the fluorescent paints. So all of the clouds you see, the magentas, the blends of orange and yellow, some of the purple, all of that was done with the fluorescent paints. Most of the rest of the painting was done with regular craft acrylics. And I thought it'd be fun to show you the difference. So this is kind of a Art-I-San fluorescent paints versus craft acrylics. So this is the set of the fluorescent paints I bought. Orange, blue, yellow, purple, magenta, and green. They came as a set. I've never seen them sold in the art store as anything other than a set. And I think I paid about $8 for these. I live in North Texas, so obviously that price is going to vary depending on where in the country or world you live. The craft acrylics, again, you can find these just about anywhere. Walmart, Target, any art store, certainly Hobby Lobby, Michael's, places like that. You can also order them online. They're easy to find. And they range in price anywhere from 50 cents on up to a little over a dollar. Again, just depending on the brand. Here, this is a mix of brands, but they're so similar in consistency and value that I really can't tell a difference between the brands of craft acrylics. These paints are right out of the bottle. I'm not using any kind of mixing gels or mediums. On this side, I have my fluorescent paints, blue, orange, yellow, magenta, and purple. And on this side, my regular craft acrylics. They're a lot more fluid, and I'm using similar hues like blue and orange and yellow and magenta. The magenta is much thicker. The craft purple is a lot more fluid. You can see immediately that the fluorescent paints are thicker right out of the bottle. They're more consolidated, they tend to clump together, and they're a little bit brighter than these over here. You can see that these craft acrylics are a lot more fluid, and they're even starting to run together. The exception is this magenta. It's called bright magenta, and for some reason it's so much thicker than the others. I could barely get out of the tube. And don't ask me why. I really don't know. Now, using a flat brush, about a ½ flat brush, I'm going to dab into the fluorescent blue and add a straight line. You see it doesn't go on real thick by any means. It's pretty thin, pretty transparent. So if you're going to work on a sky, let's say a sunset, you'll want to do several layers, several applications of the color. And I'm just using a blender brush so I don't end up with harsh lines. Because keep in mind, acrylics dry really quickly, and the fluorescent kind are no exception. So I'm going to clean my brush here. I have water over here and a paper towel. I'm just going to clean it and now dip it right into the craft acrylics, the regular acrylics. And you can see automatically it also goes on fairly thin, but much darker. Even when I blend the edges out, it remains so much darker than the fluorescent. So for a sky, for a blue sky, I would personally recommend using the regular craft acrylics, because you're just going to have to do so many different applications with the fluorescent variety compared to just a couple of go-overs with the regular acrylics. Now with a clean, dry brush, I'm going to dip into the fluorescent purple. All these go on thin, like you can see. And I'm going to blend it out. It's a very soft color. Again, it would take several applications to get a really dark value, but that's okay. It just takes a little patience. Now this is the regular craft acrylics. Goes on much darker. And both varieties of paint seem to dry at about the same rate, which is really quickly. You have to add more water to get the paint flowing, or a special kind of medium, and like an extender that slows the drying time of the paints. I haven't used extender with fluorescent paints though, so I don't know how the two will react together. I will tell you, when I was painting the sunset seascape, I did mix the two. I mixed acrylics with the fluorescent acrylics, and I learned that there's a strange reaction. There's a thinning effect when you mix the fluorescent acrylics with the regular acrylics. I don't know why. It's just something about their consistency. It's like if you're painting with oils and you add too much paint thinner, it's the same kind of effect. So if you're going to mix regular acrylics with fluorescents, make sure that one or the other is dry before you add the other one. Does that make sense? So for instance, if you paint a blue sky with regular acrylics, make sure that it's completely dry before you add fluorescents on top. They just don't mix well. And you can see here very plainly that the fluorescent yellow is so much brighter, so much more vivid than the regular acrylics. They don't even compare. The regular acrylic is more dull. It's almost like a yellow ochre compared to the bright fluorescent yellow. And both are good. I'm not saying that one is better or worse than the other. I'm just, again, illustrating the difference between the two mediums. Now I'm using magenta. This is the fluorescent. It goes on a little bit thicker, and it's really bright too. A very beautiful, bright color. And this is what I used for the clouds for my seascape, for most of the clouds. It really adds a great effect. Now I'm going to clean my brush before I dip it into the regular bright magenta. This is thick, so I'm using a lot of water in the brush just to get it to flow. Look how much darker. It almost appears purple. And the name of this acrylic is bright magenta. So it's so much darker. I find that so interesting. When researching these fluorescent paints, I learned that they're really marketed towards children. They're good for school projects and painting on poster boards. But I always like to think a little outside of the box. I'm always looking for different kinds of mediums to use in my paintings. And that's why I picked these up. I was just curious about them. I had never used them before. And I've been really pleased with the effect. And I'll continue to use them interchangeably with regular acrylics from now on. Now, last but not least, orange. These are the fluorescents. They're also very bright. They go on fairly thick. They're drying very quickly, as you can see. And now with a clean brush, I go in with regular acrylic orange, much darker. So you can see, just by looking at the canvas here, all the different colors. It's so obvious which are the fluorescents and which are the regular acrylics. So if you've been thinking about exploring with fluorescent colors, but you were unsure if you should take the plunge, if you should spend the money on them, I hope this video has kind of helped you get a better idea of their value and how they work. I love them. I will continue to use them, as I say. And I hope you'll let me know what you think down in the comments below. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you next time.